So, today, guys, in case you didn't know, today is the Think STEM Fest Africa. It's the first one, in fact, which is a really big thing. My name is Lwidiko Mhamilawa. I'm 12.
Could you tell me a bit about today's event?
So, today I've seen a 3D printer, but then I've actually seen a Deadpool mask, which is actually really cool. I've seen an organization.
A Deadpool mask, that's the character, the cartoon character, Deadpool. A mask made by the 3D printer, made on the 3D printer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've also seen people who empower women through STEM, which is actually kind of cool because sometimes science is assumed to be a boys thing, but it's really not.
What activities have you yourself been involved in here at the event?
I drove an RC car that was DIY and made out of recycled materials.
DIY as in do it yourself?
Yeah, and made out of recycled materials.
Did you make the car yourself?
Nope, I just found it there and I controlled it, but it was still super fun.
Okay, and what do you think of science? Has it been a subject you like?
Yes, science is actually my favorite subject. I like exploding things and learning science and stuff and learning how the world works.
Welcome back to Africa Science Focus, the science and development show from SciDevNet and Ogechi Kianyao. You were just listening to Lemuel, one of the participants at STEM Africa Fest taking place in Kenya. This event, designed for children, brought science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, to life through hands-on workshops and dynamic activities. It aimed to inspire curiosity and show kids, parents, and educators that science can be enjoyable and engaging.
Hi, how are you, madam?
Hi, I'm fine.
What's your name, please?
My name is Ado Yembo.
Ado, could you tell me why you decided to bring your child or children here to the event today?
I think top of my list is it's a very long holiday. It's 2 months, so I have quite a packed calendar. I've identified a few events here and there that I want to take them to. But particularly this one is because my daughter is very interested in sciences. And when I saw that there were a couple of vendors or exhibitors that I'm interested in myself, that is why I decided I wanted to bring her so she could get some exposure to STEM.
Now, do you think making science fun, as you can see what is going on here, do you think it helps make science more interesting for the children?
Yes, certainly. I think I'm a millennial, so sciences were deemed as when I was growing up, rather, sciences were the thing that boring people did. The geeks, Did
you take science?
Yes. I'm sure I was more boring than I am right now. I might have discovered myself later, but yeah, so it was the boring thing that the boring people did. And I do agree that making it look interesting, making it practical, definitely makes it more attractive.
In this episode of Africa Science Focus, we're exploring the critical role of fun in science education. A 2024 UNESCO report revealed that fewer than 25% of students in Sub-Saharan Africa pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics disciplines. The Association for the Development of Education in Africa found that across Africa, STEM education faces several barriers, including inadequate resources, outdated curricula, and poor pedagogical practices. Many teachers rely heavily on rote memorization and fail to integrate hands-on or student-centered approaches, making it harder for students to connect with or enjoy science. How can we make science accessible and get more young people interested in STEM? By making science education fun and engaging. Simple strategies like interactive and hands-on activities, as well as relatable examples, work well. The STEM Africa Fest in Kenya is an example showing how creativity and fun can help kids, parents, and teachers see science in a new way. Tracey Shiundu, creator of Funke Science and host of the festival, believes that having fun is essential to get children interested in science. She spoke to our reporter, Michael Kaluki, about her mission to get children to love science.
I'm here at the STEM Africa Fest, Kenya edition, which is taking place here in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Now, the event is hosted by Funke Science, an organization which aims to make science fun for children. Well, next to me is Tracey Shiundu. She is one of the founders of Funke Science. Tracey, as I look around me here, I see some children playing. I see a number of tents in the distance with their children in the tents there. Some seem to be learning various things. I actually visited one of the tents there and saw children learning about artificial intelligence. So seems there's quite a bit of interesting stuff going on. But perhaps, first of all, I can ask you to tell me a little bit about the event today.
Okay, so the STEM Africa Fest is an event that is going to be done annually now in Kenya. It initially started in Nigeria, so it was done in Lagos and Abuja and has happened in Gambia and Sierra Leone. So this is the first event here in Nairobi, Kenya. And this event is around demystifying science, engineering, technology, and mathematics to different students. So not just the students, but also their parents and their teachers. As we've all realized, for the Kenyan curriculum, we're now changing into the CBC, which has a STEM pathway. So this event as a whole is demystifying STEM and also carrying along that conversation and bringing everyone to be part of this conversation called STEM. So that's both the parents and the teachers, so that we all understand, first, the different aspects of STEM, so the science, technology, engineering, and math, but also break it down into simple, understandable phrases for the children so that they are also able to take this in and also be able to embrace STEM as they keep growing.
Could you tell me a bit about what is going on in some of the exhibition stands we can see here?
Okay. So there's a lot of fun things happening. There are science experiments that are going on. There are different sort of robotics simulations that are going on. There's also different exhibitions from different people. So I think there's a tent that has GDC where they're showing how geothermal energy is produced into electricity in our homes. So we're showing them different parts of what happens in the different aspects of STEM. There's even someone who's doing maths games. So, you always think mathematics is very difficult, but there's someone who's doing games around mathematics. And the funny thing with what we've done with this event, we invited an insurer, and they had no idea how they were going to explain insurance to children. And they sat together with the mathematics exhibitor, and they came up with a fun way to explain insurance to children. And she's now taking it. She's moving along, and she's saying, this is how I'll be explaining insurance moving forward. So there are different things going on. Coding also that is happening other than the science experiments.
Wait, there's a child here dressed as an astronaut next to us.
Yes, actually, even the different things around astronomy and everything that's happening. And actually encouraging the children, the sky is the limit. Do different things that actually you want to do, because from doing those different things and dreaming, you never know what you're going to do. Because I think I dreamt this and today it's happened. So that's the encouragement happening now here.
Now, I saw you at a stand where there were a number of science kits. It was a sign that said science kits. Could you tell me what that is about?
Okay, so the science kits, majority of them I think are being sold by Funke Science, so that's us. So the Funke Science kits have different science experiments that can be done from the comfort of your home. Why are we saying this? Because we're trying to push for the notion that science is not difficult, but it's something that's manageable. We're also pushing for the notion of making your kitchen into a science lab. So doing different science experiments from the comfort of your home using readily made materials that you can find every single day. So that it doesn't have to be that when you're thinking of a science experiment, you're only thinking of different acids and bases and blowing up things, but it's experiments that you can do from your house, even just using water and a glass or boiling water or baking soda just to do an experiment. So it's demystifying science.
Give me an example of an experiment a child can do at home in their kitchen that is fun to do.
The simplest that we've always done is a self-inflating balloon. Where we have the child has a balloon and then you put baking soda inside the balloon and then you have a bottle that has vinegar inside. So when you take the mouth of the balloon, stretch it over the mouth of the bottle and then tip over the baking soda, the balloon will inflate. So as it inflates, there's a reaction that's happening at the bottom, inside the bottle with the vinegar and the baking soda. That forms carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide now fills the balloon, and then it's able to now inflate, and then the child can actually see a reaction happening in the house. And that's a very basic acid and base reaction happening in their house.
And why did you decide to found Funke Science?
So as I mentioned, I think as I was growing up, my parents were very encouraging around anything I wanted to learn or anything I wanted to explore. And same came with also the schools I went through, where they always said, if you want to try something, you must break it. So for anything to happen or for you to learn something, you must break it or you fail in the process and that sort of thing. So when I got to university and I learned that a lot of my classmates don't have the aspect of where they're testing and doing science experiments in class, then it was heartbreaking, because I was thinking, I've gotten here because I've been allowed to test, and my mind always knows that regardless of whatever I do, even if I fail, I have learned from that process. So that aspect of them not experiencing a science environment made me question, okay, so if you are coming to do a STEM course, why aren't you going through a physics lab and a chemistry lab? You're only interacting with that the last, I think, week before exams. So I found it very scary for me, and I said, okay, why not try and demystify science for young people? So we started off with high school students, but then, of course, by then you've realized they've already made up their mind, and they're already telling you science is hard and I don't know what I'm going to do. But then we decided, now let's work with children who are lower in age. So that's from primary school and below. So as they come from primary school and below, they haven't made up their mind. So they're always, they're open, and they're much more likely to want to learn something new. And that's what we wanted to work with. So that's why we wanted to demystify and make it fun from when they're young, so that you're actually even encouraging them to do different science experiments, open up their minds to the possibility of doing STEM, and encouraging them to move along as little STEMettes as we move on till university and high school and that sort of thing.
Funke Science aims to spark curiosity and excitement in children by making science enjoyable. But why is fun such a vital ingredient in science education? Michael explored this question with Dr. Lwidiko Mhamilawa, a malaria researcher and the founder of Projekt Inspire STEM Park in Tanzania.
Fun. I think everything science is fun. The way you see the children's eyes light up when they finally get it to organize, to create a hydraulic bridge that actually works if you push a syringe up and down. The way they are able to make art from principles of centrifugal force that spreads, outside. And the way they're able to discover that the wheel can stand upright while it's rotating, and you see their eyes glow up, you see they start crying like cows. Oh, then you realize, okay, a point has been driven home, right? So I have that statement with my team. So the moment you see kids start crying like cows, then you're like, bingo, we've had them. And the smiles, the laughter, the fact that they don't want to leave this place every time they come. And I think that's a huge testament of the reason why what we're doing is fun for them and it's learning, because kids are, you would tell me, we are so happy to leave home, to go back home after school hours. It's the most fun periods are break time and home time in the school setup, right? But here, the most fun times is when they're actually learning. And the sad times, they have to leave. Parents will struggle with them. Somebody, they don't want to leave this place. So to me, I think, and what all we do here is science, technology, engineering, and math. So there is no better evidence than the fact that kids don't want to leave this place.
Dr. Mhamilawa, what's Projekt Inspire's STEM Park all about?
Projekt Inspire STEM Park is essentially first of its kind science center, if you may. We call it a STEM Park because it's abbreviated for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics park. It's a space where we provide inspiring spaces to learn for children. So our understanding is that for African children to have meaningful learning experiences, they need inspiring spaces to learn that would trigger their creativity, innovation, and critical thinking in the 21st century skills, essentially. So at the space like this is a place where children can come and explore different science phenomena, technology concepts, and, actually just making science more relatable and accessible.
What is the setup here in the park? Where we're sitting at the moment is a classroom with tables and chairs. And earlier on, I saw some beakers and pipettes up there in the front. And I can see there are a few other rooms. What's the setup here?
So the setup is three-way. So you will see the rooms like this are dynamic rooms that are changed between a laboratory and a classroom and things like that. So you're able to see the beakers and stuff. Like even see the tables here. There are fold tables on the side, which will turn up and upside and will become tables. And this whole place converts to a computer room, right? So we have created dynamic spaces like this that would be able to change it, be used as multi-purpose. So that is the first kind of setup. The second kind of setup is we have offices as well in this space where the volunteers, the teachers, and the staff of Projekt Inspire stay and use that's the science communicators, if you may, to help kids move around and do their sessions. The third kind of setup is probably we'll go and see outside later on. There are exhibits. These science exhibits, they are designed to communicate a scientific phenomena. Could be a concept, let's say, from gravity, conservation of angular momentum, centrifugal force, light and reflection, electromagnetism. All these different things are here where children can come and explore. So there's the science communicators in this space really can help answer some questions that kids have, but also guide children and young learners through this space.
At the festival, parents echoed the sentiment that fun is a game changer in education. Michael spoke to some parents who were thrilled to see their children actively participating in science activities.
Okay, so I'm now going to speak to some parents here who brought their children to the event today. Hi, how are you, sir? Could you kindly introduce yourself, please?
My name is George.
Why did you decide to bring your child or children to this event today?
I decided to bring my daughter here because science is an art in itself. I wanted her to learn more about how to build things, how things are built, how to be innovative, and how to bring or harness that information to her future. And basically that.
Did you take science as a subject in school? And if so, would you say it was fun for you?
Yes, I actually took all the sciences, biology, physics, and chemistry, and actually did it well. So this maps well with me because having done it theoretically and seeing it practically really makes sense for me, and I really hope that it makes sense to her now that she has the opportunity to do it practically.
So if you had an opportunity to learn science in a practical, fun way back in the day, do you think it would have made a difference for you?
Actually, yes, it would have made a difference for me because I would have been more innovative in how I think, why I think like that, and how I approach things to life. So science in itself, it being a subject or being subjects, it being practical and more practical rather than theoretical opens your mind and you can be able to solve problems as they come.
Thank you so much. I'll speak to this other gentleman who is here next to you. And you're a parent as well, sir?
Yes, I am.
What's your name?
My name is Kamande.
Kamande, why did you bring your child or children to this event today?
I'm doing it for them. And it's more or less what George said, my friend George said. I think we went through school in a very theoretical way. And now, when I'm an adult, that's when I'm learning actually the importance of the things I used to study, right? We did science so that we could pass exams. That was it, right? But now, in every sphere of our life, you see the application of science. And now you have to go back and start reading all those things that you don't have time for it, right? So now we're in the age of AI, right? A lot of the building blocks for that are things that kids can learn right now, right? I've seen robotics, I've seen them doing coding as well, right? A lot of those things, thermodynamics, the law of thermodynamics, for instance, and all that applies even in philosophy and in life, right? But then that didn't click in our lives yet because all we did was very theoretical. Even having access to a lab was a problem, right? So I brought them there because I want to do the same exact thing, lay the foundation for the practicality of science, not just as a discipline that's very confined, but in terms of how it can be applied across all spheres of life.
Are you a scientist yourself?
I am a data scientist. I don't know if that makes me a scientist, but yeah, I'm a data scientist. So my job is to solve problems using data. So write code and understand different ideas by just looking at the data and seeing what patterns are there. So in some ways, yes, I am a scientist.
So when you were in school, did you have an opportunity to practice science in such a way?
No, man. And that's why this is very exciting, that we can get kids to see, different experiments and not just how they are done. So you don't study, pressure as an element of science, right? We didn't have that opportunity. All we did was learn the theory, right? Electricity, how is electricity produced, right? I think we did one visit when we were in primary school, right? To the Seven Forks, but that's it, right? So
one of the dams here.
Yeah, that's one of the dams, right? One
series of dams,
Series of dams, yes, the Seven Forks. So yeah, we did not have an opportunity to do this in practice. And we're here now mostly because of luck, but I don't think for the next generation we want to do that. We can be a bit more, We can be a bit more deliberate in equipping them when they are young, and that's how we help Africa rise by creating the next generation of scientists who solve problems in the context of Africa.
Advocating for more fun in science is Dr. Kenneth Monjero, president of the Fun and Education Global Network, and a researcher with the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization. Dr. Monjero, nicknamed Dr. Fun, has dedicated his career to making science accessible and enjoyable for children. He told Michael how he earned that nickname and why fun is his philosophy.
I'm here at the Fun and Education Global Network premises located in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. I'm here to have a chat with the network's founder, Dr. Kenneth Monjero, who is also commonly referred to as Dr. Fun. Now, Dr. Monjero is also a biotechnologist with the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. Dr. Monjero, perhaps I can start off by asking you this question. Many people do refer to you as Dr. Fun. How did you get this nickname?
Yeah, this makes me so happy, especially when I hear anyone talk about Dr. Fun. Because in most cases, people are affiliated to high-intensive professional titles like, Dr. Monjero and all that, which alludes to PhD and all that. And it's not connected with the children and all that. So I love the name Dr. Fun because I was given this name by Aunt Montessori children in New York, upstate New York, when I engaged them and all that. And my name was very hard to pronounce, Monjero and all that. So they opted to say, oh, Fun, okay, Dr. Fun, Dr. Fun. And I loved it because it was really going hand in hand with my objective of demystifying science. I'm a molecular scientist. My background is really in molecular science, plant biotechnology, crop protection, which I achieved through Kenya Methodist University, University of Nairobi. And then I went to Cornell University to advance my studies. But then I had a big quest of how can we engage, an inclusive approach to learning science. Because I interacted with scientists, we've been doing, a study of viruses, plants, and big science, molecular, DNA, fingerprinting and all those. But then I wanted every child or every person that is, non-scientific audience to understand what are these, scientists are doing. And that's how I ventured in how can we have an inclusive approach, especially with the young people, because Kenya comprises the highest percentage is actually the youth. So how can we attract, engage, and empower young people, our young learners?
Talking about lab, where I'm talking to you at the moment at the network's premises here in Nairobi, it looks like where we are is a classroom, but also looks like a laboratory because I can see, I think those are pipettes, burettes. It reminds me of when I was in school. So where are we at the moment, seated here?
Yes, so this is the premise that we are referring to where we're hosting the Fun and Education Global Network. And this premise was put up by the Australian government grant. And now we're based in Muthaiga area, which is a prime area next to UNEP, next to all the various embassies and all that, because we really work in partnership with them. So the main aim is to have a place or space where learners can come to and learn science by hands-on. So we are not here really to take a chalk and start, writing and teaching science, what they learn in school. We just want them to have an experience. So, and we are here to really also help homeschooling, because there are those who are doing homeschooling and they don't have these kinds of approaches and all that. So they can come in for an exploration. And the way you said, we're not just looking for Kenya. We want Kenya to do it, and we're also doing programs in South Africa and in Ghana. And we're really welcoming, various countries, especially in developing countries, to have an exposure that they're not just waiting for the big labs and the big machines and all that, which is good because it's an exposure. They can see that when they go to the industry, but they can use locally available resources, materials, even in the kitchen. Actually, you can have, in your house, you can have a lab. So don't think about a lab being a fancy building and all that. We actually have children who turned their kitchen into a lab.
I remember when I was in school, there were some textbooks that would mention words like turnip and radish or beetroot. And you'd wonder, what are these things? And perhaps maybe localizing things. And perhaps maybe that's one of the things that, I've heard people talking about here in Kenya, that there's a shift towards trying to sort of base the science in a localized perspective.
Yeah, I love that, because sometimes it's good to learn on what's going on elsewhere. And that's why the importance of, students' network, that they can see. If I'm talking about sweet potato, then another person is talking about carrots, because in their region they're doing carrot farming. And we can really see that we are addressing issues of food security, but using different crops. So we don't have to say in every region we have to have everything that should be done there. Soils are different, climatic conditions are different and all that. But we want to show other learners that if you move to another region, or if you try another technology, or if you look at what exists in your environment, you can learn and come up with innovations and actually learn science the best way.
For children, events like the STEM Africa Fest can inspire their future aspirations. Michael spoke with Corey, one of the young attendees.
My name is Corey.
Corey, how old are you?
I am 9 years old.
9 years old, okay. And so, Corey, could you tell me a bit about some of the activities you have taken part in today?
Today, I had gone to the VR. If you can see, I have my number.
Oh, you have a tag that says 298. Was that VR, you mean virtual reality?
Yes.
And so you were one of the children I saw putting on those, were they like helmets or goggles or something like that?
Yes, that was one of the first things. Actually, that was the first thing we did.
What did you see when you put those on?
I felt like I was someone cool when I put on the scientist kit.
You looked cool?
Yes.
Oh, right.
When I grow up, I actually want to be a scientist. And I actually want to be many things when I grow up. But the most one, I really want to be a scientist.
Now, maybe I can ask you, have the activities you've done today, have they inspired you to start or do something in the future?
Yes.
Okay, tell me a bit more.
Like, I can learn how to dispose waste. Like, when I went to the cafeteria, I saw a lot of dirt and I really felt bad.
Okay, so you learned about ways of disposing waste?
Yes, we've learned many ways, 3 types of waste. Recycling, reducing, and reusing.
So perhaps you'd want to be a scientist who deals with waste in the future?
Yes.
That's all from us at Africa Science Focus today. If you want to find out more, head to the SciDevNet website. That's www.scidev.net. Today's show was produced by Alice Hurst, with editing by Ogechi Kianyawo and Titilope Fadare, and reporting by Michael Kaluki. I'm Ogechi Kianyawo. Until next time, it's goodbye. Africa Science Focus is produced by SciDevNet and distributed in association with your local radio station. This podcast was supported by the Science Granting Council's initiative, which aims to strengthen the institutional capacities of 18 public science funding agencies in Sub-Saharan Africa.